The country where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence, Islamic leaders silence, kings and queens silence, traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of confuse the call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of confuse the call. One guy's area, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, you need it now, see what I see so. Now your friend on a nine come at them. Only papi obeka nice and beer. So I want one over you at two. Everybody was afraid. And until I learned to my cottage again, once my boy dumping one and I cheat. But who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Aku drop on yina dalima. And who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to grow your mansa to me be a cacobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo when you know yet. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. I fene for be man mo pia for efo no cross on my mo. Anya safwe mo ayini. Akuku drop for you na dalima. And who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachi sa udi oma upipi numa. Would your mind never shine my preference? But who go tell the truth? TUC silence. Even journalists silence. So then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless, no they mean senseless. Poverty, no they mean useless. One day, then go resist.
Hello once again, a very beautiful evening to you wherever you are. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of MyView show coming to you live on today's Ghana News TV. My name is Jerome and I am your usual host. And equally, let me remind you that you can, wherever you are, follow us via our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all on today's Ghana News TV. And what we are streaming live into the comfort of your rooms via satellite on Switch. And as well, anytime, anywhere, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, as well as postcards on Anchor FM. What a beautiful way to start another week. We welcome you onto this show that we will be discussing this evening, among other things, the by-election taking place in Kumawu tomorrow. What has been the impact of the government, or what has been the impact of political parties in the development of Kumawu until this point? Just recently, gladly, that people, again, were on the streets celebrating the approval of the IMF board to give Ghana a bailout. What is the way forward? Does it really need a celebration? Stay tuned when I come back. I will introduce my guests for this evening's show, and together with them and you up there, we will share our views on these two turning issues. Stay tuned and do well to send us your comments as you follow the discussion. And again, share the link that many more people will come to understand our discussions this evening. Good evening and stay tuned.
The 120-bed capacity Sechere Kumawu District Hospital project consists of a theatre, recovery unit, as well as medical, surgical, and emergency wards. Other projects in the category are cited at Fomina, also in Ashanti region, Sekondi in Western region, Abetifi in Eastern region, Dodowa in Greater Accra region, and Tempane in Upper East region. Very much Kudia wants decisive action by government to protect waste of public resources.
Remind the President, when I came to the Jubilee House, I raised issues about the uncompleted hospital project. He assured me he would address it. All efforts to get government to complete the hospital for my people have proven futile. All that people of Kumawu desire is a hospital. We acknowledge the presence of earth-moving machines on the road for commencement of work, but our main problem is the stalled hospital project, which has been taken over by weeks. The President cites other hospitals at functions but forgets to mention Kumawu Hospital. On 11th July, the Health Minister came here and promised work would resume 3 weeks from the day of his visit. It's been more than a month since. Nothing has happened.
By July 11th.
The Kumawu wants the NPP government to be prepared for the people's anger if it fails to heed their call.
When the President needed power, he came to this palace and begged for our votes. We have poured libation for his good intentions to become a reality. Next weekend, I will lead my elders and the people in communal labor to clear weeds around the stone project. I want the President to know the uncompleted hospital bothers me. If by 2020 he has done nothing about it, I only have one vote. The rest for the people.
Nana Asensumensa reporting.
So that brings us on to our discussion this evening. This has been a lamentation of the chief of Kumawu. And this was even up to the run-up of the 2020 election, where he lamented so much about abandoned projects in his constituency. Notably among them is the hospital. Unfortunately for us, the MPP still won in that constituency, or is it fortunately for them? Now we have another by-election taking place. What is the way forward? This evening, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Kwachi Kofi Frederick, who happens to be the organizer of Paris NDC in Paris. And he will be joining me together with another colleague, and then we'll have a discussion on the way forward. Dr. Lawrence is the founder of a diaspora progressive movement in America. Dr. Lawrence, it's a pleasure to welcome you to this evening's show.
Thank you very much, and it's been a long time.
Yes, and you have come with a wonderful face. Huh?
Yours is black and mine is white. That's
Yeah.
yes.
Good to have you. Good to
Thank you
have
so
you.
much. Yeah.
Great. Today we have two topics we want to look at. But first of all, the first one is going to be the topic on the Kumawu government by-election. And I will start with Comrade Kwache, the organizer of Paris branch of the NDC. Unfortunately, NDC is in this by-election, so we want to hear what the NDC will be doing differently. But Mr. Kwachi, you are most welcome to the program. Oh, I think we are missing your sound. It seems to be muted. Yeah, still. I think a producer, you have to check the sound and then let's see. No. Okay, then I will bring Dr. Lawrence and then we'll kickstart whilst producer works on the sound of Mr. Kwache. So, Dr. Lawrence, let's look at the by-election that is taking place currently. We have, in our introduction, we brought in the comments and the lamentation of the chief of the Kumawu traditional area. And that was even before the 2020 election. Today, unfortunately, we are back in Kumawu once again as a result of the unfortunate incident of the loss of the member of parliament for that place who was buried just yesterday. And we have the day before yesterday, and then we have the by-elections tomorrow. What are the chances of the NDC in this election?
Well, let me take this opportunity to greet your viewers and everybody who is, watching us. I'm Dr. Lawrence. My face has changed, but my voice hasn't changed. And I am one of the NDC USA communicators and the founder of the Friends of John Dramani Mahama, the North American chapter, and then the Diaspora and Progressive Movement. I'm an accountant and a writer. I write a lot of articles, and that's what I do for what do you call it? My leisure time. Now, on the issue of the Kumawu by-elections, they will say the groundwork is on the ground. You see, or the work is on the ground. So I've seen, in fact, all the MPP gurus are there, all the NDC gurus are there. So at the end of the day, we will see whose guru actually made an impact on the people of Kumawu. And from what I am seeing right now, and I know that Kumawu has been the strong room for the MPP. So they've never taken them seriously. They've always taken them for granted. I know for a fact that during the 2020 elections, none of the MPP executives were there. The president wasn't there, his vice wasn't there, the chairman of the party, I think Wuntumi at that time, Wuntumi wasn't there, and the chairman of the party at that time, Tim and his what's his name, John Tua or something like that. None of them visited the Kwawu constituency. So it was mainly this guy, the Honorable Basua, who was buried on Saturday. He did basically everything on his own. As a matter of fact, he stood on the ticket of the MPP, but he did everything on his own. And that was why the independent candidate, Kwaku was able to garner a lot of votes. The vote difference between Kwaku and the late Honorable Baswa was just 3,000 votes. So it could tell that the people of Kumawu are gradually, wisening up to see that even though we belong to the MPP, we are beginning to see that because we belong to the MPP and we vote MPP, we are not getting anything from the MPP. So let us now go in, do something for the independent and see what the outcome will be. And lo and behold, most of the Kumawu people voted for the independent candidate. Now, unfortunately, the independent candidate didn't last for 4 years, and there is going to be a by-election tomorrow. And we can see what the MPP is doing right now. I mean, all their roads are being asphalted just because an MPP, a member of parliament died, and they are going to have by-election. They have to find any means possible to win. And so they have to start constructing some roads for them. And that should tell you that politics and elections in Ghana are gradually changing faces. But I mean, I wouldn't say much about that. I mean, tomorrow by this time, we would have known how the votes are going, and we would have known whether the dynamic that I'm saying is changing in Ghana and in Kumawu in particular, or I mean, it's the same old stupid stuff that they are doing over there. We are yet to see how it's going to flow into the mind game of the Ghanaian voter. So let's wait and see. I would hold my pressure. I would hold my fire until I see that the Ghanaian voter is beginning to be wiser, or the Ghanaian voter is still a stupid human being. Thank you.
But even looking at it, before I check the other guy, the other guys on the ground, something that crops up is a bit strange. Remember, it was this same Kumawu demonstration that led the president to say that if they decide to go and vote for NDC, it is their own cup of tea.
That was Kwabre East.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Kwabre. That was when they went, the president went there, visited them, and the radio presenter told him that they are not developing the place, and for that matter, people are thinking of going to vote for the NDC. And then he said, if you are going to vote for the NDC, that's your own cup of tea. I don't care. You see, this thing that happened at Kwabre East, where the president said that, and what is happening right now in Kumawu, tells or should tell every normal human being in Ghana that Nana Akufo-Addo is done with Ghana. He has nothing, absolutely nothing better again to offer the people of Ghana. He's done. You see, he's done. But hey, what can I say? I'm in the United States and I'm enjoying my freedom. I mean, they are in Ghana. They are sitting by their fireside. So however the fire is burning them, they know it. And tomorrow they should, I mean, personally, I would wish that the Ghanaian voter, and in particular Kumawu people, will be wiser enough to send a very clear message to the MPP and to Nana Akufo-Addo that enough is enough. We have voted for you. You have treated us the way you treated us. You have done. You see, and normally, and most of the time, when people or when governments rush to do developments for some people because of by-election or because of election, history has told us that the government is punished.
Yeah.
The people tell the government that we are not fools for you to just come rush and pretend to be doing something because of the by-election or because of the election. I mean, they did that to Kufuor, they did that to Mahama when we had elections in Asankragwa and places. It has always been like that. And I wish and I hope that tomorrow they are going to send a very clear message to Nana Akufo-Addo that enough is enough. We voted for you for 26 years. We voted for you as an MPP. We didn't get anything from your government, and now it's over. We are going for the NDC.
Wonderful. By way of introduction, now let me see if Mr. Kwachi is available, and then we'll look at what is on the ground and if that is the way forward. Mr. Kwachi, we're looking at what is going on in the Kumawu as a result of the by-election. And if you listen to your national chairman, he was saying that it seems not to be a good practice that we only get development in our constituencies as a result of a by-election. He cited the example of Finso, what happened. They put those structures there. As soon as the by-election ended, the whole constructions and other things got abandoned. He cited the same Kumawu once again, that as a result of by-election, development started. As soon as they finished, it also ended. Today, we have another by-election. Should we always fall for by-election to have development in our constituency? Is it not a recipe for disaster? Because most constituencies will begin to do away with their MPs to be able to get such development. What's your opinion? Oh, God. We're still having challenges with the microphone of Mr. Kwachi. Okay, then I will move further to get Dr. Lawrence back, and then we hit the ground running, and we see. No, still. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Dr. Lawrence, I'll come back to you. I was just trying to find out from Mr. Kwachi about the complaints of the national chairman, where development is as a result of by-elections. But all the same, we will drift just a little. Let's look at what is going on now. Is it a panic reaction, or is a state of desperation? We have the vice president was in that place. We have the chief of staff, all the government machinery. They are all in Kumawu currently. But the most striking aspect is what is going on. We've seen them distributing at least 3 things of gari to individuals, or 3 things of rice to individuals, pieces of cloth, all in the name of getting their vote as a result of this election. We've seen the regional chairman of the Ashanti region MPP going on his knees in a church to beg people for their votes. Is it an issue of desperation, or the NDC, the MPP has lost it all?
Yeah, Jerome, I was saying that I have been speaking brief. I mean, short, because I know I have another panelist who I don't want to take everything or say everything, and then he wouldn't have anything to say. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be in my lane, so that when he comes in, he can also be in his lane, and then we can have a very good program. But if he is having challenges with his mic or anything, and you want me to take over the show, I mean, I've done this several times with Peter Mensa, so I can take over the show, and I can run the show. In that case, I will have long speeches, and I will be able to expand and go to wherever I need to go, because I know I'm the only person here, and that's what it is. So I don't know. I will still go brief. I'll talk briefly. I'll comment briefly on what you said, but if he cannot come in again and I have to come back, then I might have to as well take over the show. And then I can then expand and say everything, because then I know I don't have anybody who is also coming to contribute. But right now, I don't want to say everything, and then he would.
Sure, and we understand.
Yes. So okay, So on the issue of whether there is desperation or reaction, the reaction of the MPP, what does it mean to, what does it mean in this by-election? Now, the question is both. There is desperation, and the reaction shows that they've lost it. You see, when you are interviewing the MPP on this by-election in Kumawu, all they tell you is that, oh, NDC, this, they say they didn't complete this, and we came and we are carrying the roads, and then they will tell you the road from Inshiayesu to this place, MPP government did it, and then they will tell you the road from Kwadasu to Mampontin, NPP did it. You see, and then they will be telling you things that are not even related to the by-election that is going on in Kumawu. And that is their trademark. That is how they are. As a matter of fact, this by-election in Kumawu should teach the MPP a lot of lessons, and of course the NDC too, because NDC we also have our strongholds. And even though our MPs in our strongholds are wiser and healthier than the MPP MPs in their strongholds, death can take anybody. So if the MPP MPs in their strongholds are dying, and for that matter, because they are dying, we are having by-elections over there, we should also be guided by what is going on in the MPP strongholds, especially when it comes to development. We should not think that because it is our stronghold, we should just leave developments to the people. We should, as a government, when we come to power in 2025, one of the things that President Mahama should be guided by is this by-election that is going on in Kumawu. And I am saying that because I know politicians and governments have taken their strongholds for granted. And that is Kumawu is one particular example. So I don't want a situation where NDC will come to power and we will be struggling in our strongholds like the MPP is doing right now. Like, they are selling Gary. They are sharing Gary. They are sharing rice. They are sharing clothes from China. They are sharing money. And look at all the developments, the roads projects that are going on. And when you talk about the road projects with the Kumawu people, in Kumawu from the MPP, they tell you, oh, that project has been there a long time before even the MP died. It was in the pipeline. But if something was in the pipeline, at least you should have seen it reflected in the budget. But here is the case, it wasn't mentioned anywhere in the budget. It was just because of this by-election, they decided to just go and dump something in there for them. But I can tell you from experience that immediately after tomorrow, whatever they are doing will be over. Whatever developments, whatever road construction they are doing in Kumawu, immediately after tomorrow, and a candidate wins, either the independent candidate wins, either NDC wins, either MPP wins, the development in Kumawu will be over. That is what we know. That is the trademark of the MPP. That is what they've been doing to their strongholds. And unfortunately, the people in their strongholds haven't learned lessons yet. And that is why some MPs in their strongholds of the MPP can tell the MPP folks that even when you bring a goat to contest with an NDC candidate in my constituency, the goat would win, because they've seen that the MPP, the people in MPP don't have that brains, to think deeper into what they need. And that was why their own presidential candidate, Kennedy Ejapon, told them that they are fools. They say MPP people are fools. They don't think, and it is true. I mean, I heard some interview from some people in Kumawu, and so the guy was interviewing them and asking, who are you going to, it was on Asempa FM, and the guy was asking them, who are you going to vote for? Then there was this one girl, me, I am an MPP, and if I'm an MPP, who do you think I should go and vote for? And then there was another guy too. He said, now do you think me, an MPP, I should leave my party and go and vote for somebody? You see, such people dumb. They are just dumb. They don't know what is going on. They don't know what is good for them. They are just following the party. They are not even following. And before you realize, these people that they interview them are unemployed. They don't have any work to do. Before looking at their age and looking at where they were and where they were interviewed, it showed clear that they were not even engaged in any productive work. But because they are MPP, I'm going to vote for MPP. Me, I'm an MPP. My mother is an MPP. My father is an MPP. I was born into MPP. Dumb, foolish people. They don't even know what they want. And like I said, I will hold my fire for now until the results are declared tomorrow, and then whatever I have to write about the mindset of the Ghanaian voter, I will come up with it.
Wonderful. I know definitely there will be a powerful write-up. Because when I come back, we'll look at one of your write-ups with the internal party politics or elections, and then we can see the way forward. I hope Mr. Kwachi, is Mr. Kwachi available now, producer?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kwachi, where we have gotten to now, Dr. Lawrence has made very wonderful revelations. It looks like the parties have always taken their strongholds for granted. You only go there, especially during by-elections, you go and put some structures and blah, blah, blah. You win the seat and then you disappear. Is that a way to go?
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate what we are seeing on social media, the current happenings in Kumawu. But I think NDC has given MPP a challenge in Ashanti region. And it's about time Ashanti region, as a region of a stronghold for MPP should wake up going forward in the way they treat the people of Ashanti region. I think currently when you go to Kumawu, MPP is demonstrating to the whole world that they have lost touch with the people and they have lost the election. Looking at some of the things we are seeing on social media, and you see a whole regional chairman leaning down, begging the people for votes, where apart from Kumasi, let's say even an entire Ashanti region, apart from Kwabri East, Kumawu is one of the strongest holds where MPP gets their votes from. And the perception that, if you put anything there, let me put it in quote, anything there, once the person have the colors of MPP or that particular object have the colors of MPP, obviously we are going to vote for that particular object. It means the parties have relaxed or the party relaxed in that stronghold. But in my opinion, these are the people who are giving you the power. If you wouldn't have been them, you wouldn't have been where you are. So you should do as much as possible to take good care of those people so that they will continue to put their trust in you. But in other way around, in as much as MPP has failed the whole country, they are failing their strongholds as well. This wouldn't have been a problem for MPP as at now. But looking at MPP now, the whole machinery of MPP is dead. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have not started spending the IMF money there. Because what they are doing, it clearly tells you that they were complaining that there were no money, they are not going to get money to pay salaries of workers. And let me remind you of one thing. These Kumawu people way back demonstrated before 2020 elections or somewhere along the line. And the road minister told them, it is not demonstration that will construct your roads for you. So how come today you have been able to conjure money and you are now doing the construction for them? Somebody built a hospital for these people, and your only defense was that the hospital is in the bush, so you can't continue that. And that has been their tactics. Oh, they should have built a hospital in town, and they built it in the bush. So if the hospital is in the bush, is it not a way of bringing up development? So if they intentionally don't want to continue your project, and there has been several times their chief has been begging that please come and complete this hospital for me. I'm a doctor myself, medical doctor myself. So there will be other things I can even do in as much as possible that I will not be able to go outside my jurisdiction to go and maybe administer my work. Within my own people, I can go and help. But these people refuse. So if the people of Kumawu are as intelligent as it is now, they should know that whatever is happening in our local language, say, they are doing them 419. And even looking at the way they are constructing the road, it will not last.
Sure.
The project will not last. They have no gutter, nothing. And you see, the people are even saying that the very places that where they need the roads to be fixed, they are not doing that. They are only doing it within the township. And you see, they are behaving like it's a rally that they are going to do for the whole country, and they have just decided to go there. They are busing people from different constituencies to come and show the place. You come and do what? This is just a by-election. And like General said, our chairman said, if this continues in Asante region, then Kwabri people they are complaining of what? Of their roads. So if they have been a precedent that, if Kumawu people roads were fixed as a result of the death of their MP, then let's also do away with our MP so that we can also get our roads fixed. Is that the way to go? So it's unfortunate we are having these experiences, and I don't know if my people in Kumawu will wise up and understand the dynamics and vote against these people, so that going forward, coming in presidents or parties will learn from that and know that now the people are discerning. You can't just do anything and have your way out. The power belongs to us. The power don't belong to you. So at the time we needed you, nobody came. Now you need us, and we want to tell you that we gave you the power and we are taking our power from you. By obviously,
But even before you land, something occurred. The late member of parliament, when it was time for the confirmation of the DCE, he was prevented from taking part in it. What could be the problem? Because if he is an MPP MP, while Kumawu is an MPP stronghold, is it at that point the party had some differences with him? That's why they prevented him from taking part?
Yeah, it took a very long time for them to be able to get their DCs, because there was a machinations there. We want Baumia people to be DC so that they can influence the vote during their primaries for the flag bearership. So they knew this man to be an Alan Chamantin camp. So if you are not in favor of Bawumia within that space, you see that they were trying to, prevent people from involving themselves when they see that you are not in the other side.
Okay.
So around that period, that was the imagination. That was actually what was happening. So they can mention your name, and if a message gets to the president that, oh, this person is in Alan camp, then you see that you are suspended, or the whole thing is being suspended. So if you follow their nominations during the MCUs and the DC, you could see that there was some kind of delay. It's not
Okay.
as a result of anything, but it was as a result of who belongs to where, and who is going to do the mastermind work for us. Because we want Bawumia to follow suit. So if you are not in camp of Bawumia, then you won't get the opportunity to be there. So if you go back to check, this man has been in parliament for 3 terms or 4 terms, and no ministerial appointment, nothing. He was totally silent. And his colleagues in parliament will tell you that he was just a normal parliamentarian when his party is in power.
He only added up to the numbers.
How they have. So you see, after the death of the man, may his soul rest in peace, you realize that the family came out and was giving a lot of testimonies and was saying a lot of things, how the party have dealt with him and all sort of things. So I wouldn't be surprised even if the man is still alive, he would have lost his teeth.
Okay.
He wouldn't have been a parliamentarian going forward.
That's interesting. But that, well, we will say that is what happens within the two political parties. But now the question of one belongs to this and one belongs to that, I will find out from Dr. Lawrence, because he has a write-up on the internal party internal politics or elections, especially looking at the MPP. Dr. Lawrence, there is this issue of a flyer going around where they said the current parliamentary candidate for this Kumawu by-election is a mark for the Alan camp. Well, they have their camps already. You have done some work, and you have a piece on who becomes the presidential candidate, or who the people who want as presidential candidate in MPP. Where do you settle this candidate in your analysis?
Thank you very much. And in addition to what Frederick said about Nana Akufo-Addo, I mean, when you asked about why the former MP for Kumawu was kind of deprived of even going to vote for his DCE, in addition to what Frederick said, there is this thing too that the MPP, or let me say that Nana Akufo-Addo as an individual, he doesn't like some of his MPs.
Okay.
And if he doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. And take, for instance, I think the Famina MP, the second deputy speaker for parliament right now.
Yeah.
He went independent. And Nana Akufo-Addo said it emphatically. He and John Boadu, the party secretary at that time, they said it emphatically that they don't want to see that guy near their party office. They don't want to see him because the guy said he was going independent. Now, the guy won the seat for Famina, and they went and begged him, paid some of his debt for him, so he can align with the MPP in parliament. So that is the hallmark of Nana Akufo-Addo. There are some people he likes, there are some people he doesn't like. And if he doesn't like you, the whole party follows it. I mean, you see, MPP, they pride themselves of being an elite party, but I am so surprised that they are the party of the bush. One person does something and they all follow it. Now, if Nana Akufo-Addo says he doesn't like you, everybody in the party doesn't like you. And I can tell you from experience that most of the DCEs and most of the party faithfuls that are aligned to Alan Trematin today have all been sacked from their workplace. Especially, and I know you know this, and this man,
Hobson.
the one who said party,
Is it Hobson Adoye?
Hobson Adoye. I mean, that's a practical example of what Nana Akufo-Addo likes and what he doesn't like. And if he doesn't like you, he'll sack you. Hobson Adoye has been sacked because he's aligned to Alan Trematin.
Yeah.
And immediately he was sacked, he went to Oman FM and said, Nyaminti Ebedidi. I mean, you see, so this guy, the MPP guy in Kumawu, my checks told me that he belonged to the Alan Trematin camp. And you know, it was a primaries, so there were other people who contested with him, and there were people who were also for the Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia camp. Well, Nana Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, they are the same people. And fortunately, unfortunately for them, for the Bawumia Nana Akufo-Addo camp, this guy won, who is from Alan Trematin's camp. And my checks have revealed to me that as soon as this guy won, the Bawumia camp went and induced him with some money to do his campaign. Do you understand? And so as soon as he saw that the money is coming for this particular campaign, he switched camps from Alan Trematin camp to now Bawumia camp. And that has caused some anger in the Alan Trematin camp. Do you see? Because they are saying the guy has betrayed them, because they were behind him during the primaries. They did everything for him, resourced him, and did everything for him to win the primaries. Now you won, and the government machinery has come to you, brought you some money, and doing the rules for Kumawu, and told you to switch camps, come to our camp, and then we'll give you money to do your campaign for this tomorrow elections. So that is what I know for now. And I don't know how that thing is going to play out in the elections tomorrow. And no, he's an MPP guy. The first independent guy is also an MPP.
Yeah.
The first guy. And then the second MPP guy, who is also an independent, the second independent guy, who is also Kwakudia, is also an MPP. And he was planted there by the chairman of the regional chairman of the party, Wuntumi, to just confuse. You see, MPP, they know their people, excuse me to use this language, they know their people are fools. They know it. So anything they are doing it to mimic somebody who is a fool. Do you see? And I told you, Kennedy Japan said it. I didn't say it. Kennedy Japan, who is one of them, said it, and he's now one of their presidential candidates. You see? And so anything they are doing, they do it for people who are fools, or they do it for people who they know don't think. So what Wuntumi has done is to bring in somebody who is called Kwakudia, who has the same symbol, a bird, like the first Kwakudia.
Yeah. And
they are both wearing kente. And the whole purpose is that, the 2020 elections, this first Kwakudia got 11,000 votes.
Yeah.
So the whole purpose is that, okay, if our people in Kumawu are fools and they don't know the difference between this and that. Let us go and confuse them so that we can split the votes for Kwakudia. Whoever Kwakudia it is, they don't care. They just want to split the vote for any of the Kwakudia. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So what Woon to me thinks he has cleverly done is that he wanted to split the vote for Kwakudia. It doesn't matter who the person is. The same name Kwakudia, the same symbol, a bird, and the same, they are all independent candidates. Until just yesterday, that the Electoral Commission has come to say that the second Kwakudia symbol is no more a bird, but a hole. And that was just yesterday.
Yeah.
And the election is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So the first Kwakudia has just today and tomorrow to go and tell the people in the whole constituency, 75 constituencies, 75 police stations or whatever it is, that, hey, now it is me, Kwakudia, with the bed. No more Kwakudia with the hole. It's me. How can he do that? And I understand even today, they can't, either today or tomorrow, they can't even do campaigning. Do you see? So how can he do that? So, but what Woon to me failed to know is that there are 3 MPPs against 1 NDC. The first MPP is an MPP, no doubt about it. Yeah. The first Kwakudia is an MPP, there's no doubt about it. The second Kwakudia is also an MPP who was planted by Woon to me, there's no doubt about it. So they have 3 MPPs contesting 1 NDC. So our hope, the NDC's hope is that there is going to be split of votes
within the MPP.
Because if, let's say, if we are 3 families in the house and we are all MPP, one person says, I like the MPP, the real MPP. The other second says, oh, I'm also an MPP, so I'll go and vote for the first Kwakudia. And then the second MPP says, oh, okay, I'm also an MPP. I like the second Kwakudia because he is using a symbol as a whole and I'm a farmer. So he resonates with me. So I'm going to vote for him. I'm a farmer. He's using a whole. So he resonates with me. So I'm going to vote for him. And then you have 2 other people who are NDC in the house. So there will be 5 people in the house. The first 3 have split the votes among for the MPP. Hello? The first 3 have split the vote for an MPP, and the 2 who are in the NDC have gone to vote for NDC.
For the NDC.
And then NDC wins.
But so, Dr. Lawrence, he at this point, don't you think that the Electoral Commission has a hand in this activity? Because right from the word go, they knew about the names. That one, they can't do anything about it. And they knew about the symbols. Why would they accept the same symbols for the 2 people and only to change it last minute?
And Jerome, I mean, who you see, who in his right mind would not know that the Electoral Commission has a hand in this? Who in his right mind? I mean, who in his right mind? I mean, when was the first time the first poll, what did they call it? Poll results or something?
Yeah.
When was the first time it came? That was about 2 weeks ago. And they are telling us, the Electoral Commission in Accra, in fact, when you read that press statement that they brought out, they said, they brought the press statement out yesterday and they said their attention has been drawn onto this problem 2 weeks ago. And then they were saying that it was their district office that accepted that symbol. So the district office accepted that symbol and didn't communicate to you at the headquarters for 2 weeks. You see, it is all because of the thing that they were trying to create, and it has now backfired. And so, you see, they have seen that tomorrow's election is not going to be the last election in Ghana. They've realized it. And they've seen that, no, if we allow this to continue, in 2024, somebody will clone Dr. Baumia and go independent. Or somebody will clone John Mahama and go independent. What are you going to say about it? The person will come and say, my name is John Dramani Mahama, and I have my symbol is a hat with the NDC colors, green, black, red, and white. I mean, what are you going to say about it? And it's a hat. A hat is just like a bed. I mean, if you don't look at a hat is just like an umbrella. And then the person will paint it NDC colors and say, I am John Dramani Mahama. Are you going to say no? Because you just allowed one to go on in Kumawu. Do you understand? Yeah. So, and then there will be court issues around when it happens like that. So within this 1 week, they have seen what is ahead of them. They've seen that fire is about to be burnt, and so they decided to now, I mean, last minute come and say the guy, they have changed. In fact, they said they asked the guy to even change his symbol. And the guy, when you listen to the press statement, they said they asked the guy to change the symbol, and the guy didn't change it. So they used a certain article in the Constitution to change it for him, and they gave him a hole. I don't know why they gave him a hole, and I'm very sure it has also a bearing. Like I just said, the people who are farmers. So a lot of people will think that bringing a hoe or a cutlass resonates with me. So let me go and vote for the hoe. Do you understand? So everything is calculated, but sometimes I don't understand my party leaders, because some of these things they should have brought it to the attention of the world long time ago, because they should have known that this is a calculated plan to just cause problems. But maybe on the other hand, like I said, they thought that, okay, if they are all MPP and they are doing this to themselves, let them just be themselves. We don't care. And at the end of the day, we will just look at what is happening. Thank you very much. I'm seeing.
All right. Then we'll come back to you later. And then we'll look at Mr. Kwache to look at what is on the ground. Mr. Kwache, I'm going to put something very interesting to you. Kumawu is going on tomorrow. We'll see the results by the grace, and we'll see what is good for them. But then the MPP, I think they've done so well for the country since they took the reins of governance. I think the last time, 2017, you are surprised. 2017, they had a kinky party to celebrate their exit and from IMF and all that. I don't know if this time they had a celebration, and after they have been approved, the country has been approved this bailout by the IMF, and I understand we have already received $600,000 in our account at the Bank of Ghana. But then, do we have to blame the MPP for where we are? They promised you that as soon as they take over the reins of the government, they are going to build 350 senior high schools from the scratch.
Yeah.
So it means that they did a lot of expenditure that we are all seeing, at least to help what your government couldn't do by allowing our kids to study under trees. Is this expenditure not a credible expenditure?
Well, let me say, Nana Akufo-Addo is the kind of president who is ruling but not governing.
Okay.
Because they have been able to, let me say, break all the necessary rules in the country. Maybe apart from changing a child who has been giving birth to a girl to a boy. That is the only thing they have not been able to do. But if not, they've been able to give us all the promises in this world. And alongside, they've been able to break all the rules going with those promises. Let me start by saying that IMF deal, what did they tell us when they were in the opposition? Starting from Dr. Baumia himself, what Gabi said, excuse me to use that.
Fred, just hold it. What I would rather do is because you just said what Gabi said, and it has dawned on me that Gabi made a statement, and I want my producer to share that Gabi statement with us, and then we'll take your comments on it.
All right.
Okay.
I think it's important to look at it. First of all, how many countries are currently receiving IMF bailout? And why are they doing so? And these are countries that have failed in managing their finances. I think that's how you have to look at it. We went, because the bottom line, we are going to the IMF because we have been reckless. We have been to the point of even what one could allege criminality in some regard. Notice government has been overborrowing from the central bank, and beyond that, we are having issues as we speak. This year so far, the CD is the worst performing currency in Africa. This year so far, so really the idea is to see how that can help pop it up. We need the IMF because we have lacked discipline in solving our own issues. But the money from the IMF, I'm not too sure how far that will go in resolving the issues. Because don't forget, 2 years ago, we went to the Eurobond to borrow 1 billion. We still had issues. That by the middle of last year, our currency was competing with the hryvnias. And you know, what is the good news? At what cost? One, they say they will remove all subsidies. Whether the subsidies are targeted at the poor or not, those subsidies are going. IMF are not necessarily interested in economic growth. IMF, their policies have never been to, as it were, help you create jobs. It is to make sure that, look, you can pay your debts, okay? And paying debts doesn't necessarily directly benefit the Ghanaian. Because look, in Argentina, they've stopped them from even, they have to cut down the salaries to what? Doctors and teachers. In June, if you're not careful, what's happening with the doctors? So all these things are tied. Beyond that, what are the other things that they are looking for us to do? They're also saying that there should be, government should do what they call right sizing. You know, now they use terms. It's really downsizing or just laying people off. But now they say right sizing because they feel that the size is not right. So lay people off. But clearly, it is not going to happen. Workers are going to suffer, and they're not going to suffer because the IMF says so. Okay. They are going to suffer because we have been reckless in how we spend the money that we've been getting. Right. Because look, bottom line, brother, over the last 6 years alone, revenues from gold, it's been double what it was. You know, so at the end of the day, you ask yourself, where has all the money gone? And what is happening is that we are spending more and more money to pay our debts rather than investing in capital expenditure or capital projects that will create jobs. So you are looking at it, the IMF will not create jobs. The IMF will not make sure that the salaries match up with inflation. IMF will make sure that hopefully, the reckless spending will go down. And I think that's the positive aspect of it.
Okay, thank you.
But in terms of expanding...
Okay. So now Gabi has put it right before you. Does that mean the MPP government has also been very reckless in spending, reckless in borrowing, and that has brought us to where we are?
For them, they have been over reckless. You see, it's sometimes it's funny, and when we say karma or prosperity will judge you, these are some of the things that today it's not far from, it's some of the things that happened in 69 and co. You need to go to the library to check, read a whole lot of things about those histories. This is just 4-6 years. So a child who was born just 6 years back can relate to this. And it's not far from what the happenings. You see, actually, all the things that he said is a true vindicate. It's vindicating the NDC. And when it is them, it's good. But when it is NDC, it is bad.
It's bad.
You see, let me start from letting people understand why we are in IMF. When COVID came, Ghana is one of the countries that benefited from COVID. And it's a fact. We had over 2.4 billion from COVID, which we shouldn't have been crying of any problem with money or economic crisis or using COVID as a basis of going to IMF. No. Out of order. Before, we have already gotten 11 billion from Eurobonds. From 1999 to 2015, Ghana going to IMF, all the monies we have gotten is around 1.7 billion. So, if today you are going for 3 billion, which you have gotten 2.4 billion, as compared to the monies that we have gotten from that period to now, you don't have any justification to tell us that you are going to IMF. And proud to that, apart from even what they said before coming into power, because they lack that discipline. Gabby mentioned that, if you go to IMF, yes, there will be a kid that will be kicking you about us. Just like the IMF is more or less like a school teacher, that school boy who, when the mother gives the money to, he buy toffees and other unnecessary things on the way before he gets to school and be complaining of sickness and other things. So the mother, instead of giving the money to the child, will rather give the money to the teacher to be keeping. So that when you need food to buy, the teacher will lead you to go and buy the food, or will go and ask you to go and buy the food. He will go and pay the seller.
Yeah.
So if you are talking of discipline, then that is what IMF does, because the money they are giving to us is not for free. It's also loan. You shouldn't forget. And that is why they come with what? Conditionalities, so that you can pay that loan. Because they also sit back, look at what you have done with your economy, with the money you are generating from your economy, and what you have ended. That is why you are coming to them. So if you have been disciplined yourself, you wouldn't have come to them. You see, let me tell people one thing about why NDC went to IMF. Our wage bill from 2009, after the single span was being introduced, the wage bill went higher. So we were paying salaries more than the monies we were generating. That is concerned in terms of our tax revenues and other things. And that is what in paying our salaries. So if we are not getting more taxes, or we are not generating more internal generated fund, then it's difficult paying taxes. Then this will also bring the idea of going to borrow to come and support what your budget or something like that. So because of that, it got to a point NDC have to go. And that is where it came to light that, okay, then you have to limit the way you employ workers. But there are essential workers that you cannot employ, like teachers and nurses. So it was out of the scheme. Teachers and nurses within that period were still being paid, or were still being
employed.
But here is the case. This our people, their own. It's total freeze. You can't employ nurses, you can't employ teachers and other sectors in general. So when people say, oh, NDC also took us to IMF, good. But look at our wage bill from that period, where even as at that time, when we were even in training college, we were taking allowance from 70 cedis to 280 cedis. Look at the difference as a trained teacher when you were in a training school. So this alludes to some of these things. Coming back to the issues that he raised, he said it's worst performance. So he himself is admitting that when you go to IMF, it means that you have performed credibility worse. Yeah. And one of their useless regional chairman, regional chairman, one said, before you go to IMF, it means you don't have any sense of governing again. You can't do anything with your economy. You don't have any knowledge. So you go and say, oh, IMF, I have come. Please, I don't have any idea of how to organize my economy or do things. So please, I'm handing over my economy, my country to you. You take over. So this also tells us that it's true. These people, in other terms, has no idea of how to govern. And we should also bear in mind that the first NDC took us to IMF, and it was to end in 2018. But MPP added a year. So this is the second time of going for IMF. We shouldn't say is they added a year just to benefit from the remaining amount. But then people didn't see it to be a problem. But because they said that when they come, there's no IMF, they're going to cancel the IMFD. But when they came, they extended it 1 year because they were to come and they wanted to benefit from that credit. And they did it because they wanted enough physical space to borrow. That is why they did that. But see, when the conversation comes, we don't try to remember those things. 2019, it was supposed to end in 2018, but they ended additional year. And so this is MPP, Nana Akufo-Addo's second time of going for IMF. And you see, they deceived people when they came and said, we are organizing a party, a KK party for. Why? And see, when NDC was telling them that, my people, go to IMF, where we are getting to, we are entering into the gate, go to IMF, because they don't want to be disciplined. They were feeling reluctant to go. Because when you go, IMF will restrict you from hiring a very expensive plane. Now, when we started this IMFD, have you seen the president renting their plane again?
Not at all.
When we started this deal, this negotiation, have you seen president moving around with those convoy up and down again? Because he now wants to be disciplined. By the time they were telling him, man, be disciplined, Mr. President, be disciplined. Stop renting this jet because it is eating into our economy. They said no. You see, let's get to COVID-19 money and what this government has done to Ghana. Before NDC handed over power to them, there were this ESLA, there were this what is it? When I remember, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yes, where there were monies left
Oh, Heritage Fund.
Heritage Fund, and this development fund, and all those things were left for you. Get Fund was also there. NBC never thought of mortgaging Get Fund. They have decided, or they are able to get mortgage all this fund. It is good to go for a loan. Let's say, looking at my salary, I've got a business plan. I want to build a house and rent it out. So my salary cannot build a house within a certain period of time. So why don't I go in for a loan, come and build, rent, and use the money to pay for the loan. So you went in for those loans with that mentality. Now you have gone for all corners of, even if there is undersea loan that Ghana can go for. I think for real time and we'll go to Mama and go and borrow from them. They have borrowed out the whole world, everywhere, except under the sea. So this is to tell you the kind of people they are. So now let's come back to the conversation and ask them, all the money that you have borrowed, where is it? What have you used it for?
Maybe, maybe, Mr. Kwachi, before they come and tell us what they have used the money for, let's take the views expressed by our followers. Maybe we could get some answers there. Beyond that, then we come back and then you help us to find out what they have used the money for. So once again, it's my view show live coming to you on today's Ghana News TV, and we are looking at the Kumawu by-election and the IMF bailout. But for now, we want to take the views from our followers. Brimpon says, welcome, Dr. Lawrence, watching from Warsaw, Poland. I think everybody is happy that Dr. Lawrence is back. We'll get Dr. Lawrence on one-on-one, and then he will to discuss some of his write-ups in the subsequent times. We'll get a special edition for him. France chapter, NDC France chapter says, Dr. Lawrence, keep up the good works for the mother party. Mavis, very good evening to you. Watching on YouTube from Portugal. Powerful and educative show. Keep on with the good works. We're grateful. Al Hassan says, JDM for life. Oh, Al Hassan, it's been a while. I hope you are doing well. Buffy Frimpon says, Dr. Lawrence, eloquent as usual, watching from Paris, France. Honorable Malik Dramani Mahama, he says, good evening, Ndao, and greetings to your guest. My very good friend, Dr. Lawrence, with whom we founded the JDM Fan Club UK and America in 2012 to help fight the elections from the diaspora. Tell him I will challenge his grace soon. Whoa, Dr. Lawrence, there's a challenge here. Honorable Malik Dramani is coming out with a grace very soon, so you expect it. Joe Akomia says, nice topic. Well done today, Ghana News TV. We're grateful, Joe, that you're part of the show this evening. Joe is watching us from Doha in India. Grateful. Nanata Fremu, as usual, live on Sakina Information Center in Tatale, Northern Region. Our greetings to all the people of Tatale. Kunti Nana says, greetings, comrades, watching on YouTube from Poland. Do we still have some more? Patience Dako, our award-winning patient, says, good evening, watching from Hamburg, Germany. Emma Devin says, good evening, comrades. As for the sharing of all these that are being spoken about, is both ways. As far as 2012, we saw this heavily in the Volta region where I come from. It's because it's in a concentrated area that we see it for what it actually is. The Ghana Constitution has been violated by both our party and, of course, the MPP at its worst. What the call should be is that we should stand up against the political malpractices and call for the rule of law to return to the country. Very grateful, Emma, for joining the show this evening. NDC Francis back. He says, "You are on point, Comrade Fred. We are proud of you." Essentially, we are equally proud of his presentations. Brimpon says, "Dr. Lawrence is making sense, but unfortunately, we can't see him well." Oh, okay. When Mr. Dr. Lawrence comes back, I will draw his attention, and then maybe he has to readjust, and then we can see him very well. Oh, Ali, communication officer for Paris branch, says 480 million has been dispersed already out of the 600 million. Seriously? So, well, let's see how it goes in the coming days. We will dig more into it and find out how this $600 million that we have received has been dispensed. Also, Superior says, "Good evening, watching from Barcelona, Spain." Yeah. So, having taken the comments from our viewers, our time is fast spent, but I'll come in with Dr. Lawrence and find out something. He seems to be vindicated by the IMF conditionalities. Dr. Lawrence, the people are saying that you are making great inputs, but they cannot see you very well. And there's a second request that we have to have one-on-one with you. Maybe we have to do a special edition on Friday on the IMF, and then we see.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
And can you see me too?
Yeah, I can see you, but then
Yeah,
someone said they couldn't see you well.
They can see me, but they were not expecting this white beard. That's their problem. And tell my friend Malik Jamani that by the time he gets here, I will be here. but Jerome, on a serious note, I have written an article on this IMF thing, which will be published on Friday. In fact, I will give it to your producer to publish it. But I want to give your viewers the first opportunity to listen to it. It's just about 3 minutes. I will read it, and then your viewers would know what is coming up on Friday. I will publish it on Friday. So if you wouldn't mind, give me about 3 minutes. Let me read over it, and then we take it from there. And like I said, this article will be published on Friday. So if you don't get everything today, at least Friday, you should look out for my write-up.
And I think my producer will have to make a special edition on the Friday for you so that we can discuss it into details.
Okay. Yeah. So let me, the headline is "The Bitter Road to IMF in 2023." And then I said, some of us are very surprised that the government of Nana Akufo-Addo ended up in the hands of the IMF, knowing what some of his ministers and party members said in 2016 about going to the IMF. And then I started with Dr. Bawumia. I said, Dr. Bawumia laid down some of the conditions that necessitate a country to go to the IMF. He said, if a country is spending too much relative to income, that is the first condition. The second condition is if a government is borrowing too much. And then the third condition is if the external payment position of the country starts deteriorating. So Bawumia gave 3 conditions why a country will go to the International Monetary Fund. 1, if the country is spending too much. 2, if the country is borrowing too much. And 3, if the external payment position of the country starts deteriorating. And then Gabi Ochidakon, I'm happy that you played his video on Newsfire. And that is what I captured in my article. Gabi Ochidakun also said that the NDC went to the IMF because we failed to manage our finances well. Number 2, NDC borrowed recklessly. And then number 3, the NDC lacked the discipline in solving our own issues. And if you listen to the audio, everything that I have captured here was said by Gabi Ochedakun. And then he continued to say that IMF does not solve issues. And then 2, IMF is not interested in economic growth. And then number 3, the IMF policies are not meant to help countries create jobs. And these are all the things that Gabi Ochedakun said, which are captured in the video that you just played for your viewers. And then Ken Ofori-Atta also said that Ghana will not go to the IMF because the consequences of going there are dire. And then he said, we are a proud nation whose people are not short-sighted, and we can solve our own problems. This is Ken Ofori-Atta talking about not going to IMF. And then John Kuma, the deputy finance minister, he also said that Ghana is not going to the IMF today, tomorrow, and as long as the MPP government remains in power. This was what John Kuma also said about not going to the IMF. And then my friend Frederick talked about what Abronye DC said. Abronye DC said that when you go to the IMF, it means you are so stupid. So you go there to tell them that you don't have the brains to manage your economy. They should therefore come and manage your economy for you. This was what Abronye DC said in 2016 when NDC went to the IMF. And then Kennedy Japan, one of their presidential aspirants, said that those in this government, which is Nana Akufo-Addo's government, those in Nana Akufo-Addo's government who took us to the IMF are not even fit to lead the party. And in this case, he's talking about Dr. Bawumia and Alan Chiramatin and Osei Akoto, the former agri minister. He said those who took us to IMF are not even fit to lead the party. And then he added that going to IMF meant that the MPP is going to hand over victory to the NDC without a contest. This is what Kennedy Japan also said, that those who took us to IMF are not fit to lead their party, and that going to IMF meant that the MPP is going to hand over victory to the NDC without a contest. And then I concluded by saying that, so knowing what all these people know, what got them to send us to the IMF? They are telling us that $3 billion from IMF is going to create jobs for economic growth. Meanwhile, they have told us IMF policies don't do that. So who are they deceiving? Themselves or Ghanaians? The road to IMF has been bitter because when Nana Akufo-Addo was recklessly renting private jets for his foreign trips and Honorable Okujetu Ablakwa was speaking against it, didn't the MPP tell him to use trotro when he's traveling from Accra to his constituency? When Nana Akufo-Addo appointed 125 ministers and wise people were criticizing him, didn't he say he was in a hurry to fix Ghana's problem and that the output of his ministers would justify why he needed them? So the justification is to send us to IMF. Finally, when wise people were criticizing this government of excessive borrowing, didn't Dr. Bawumia tell us their borrowing is a smart one? He realized their borrowing was more than reckless when the international community shut Ghana down from further borrowing. In conclusion, I said, I don't know what you have seen about this government, but they have done 50 times worse than anything they accuse John Mahama of doing. If such caricatures come to you again for your vote, go back and listen go back and listen to what they said they will not do when they are given the power in 2016. And then I said, Mahama Reba. So, Jerome, this is the article that will be published on Friday, and your viewers have the first time, or are the lucky ones to listen to it for the first time. And I will send it to your producer to publish it in the evening news. And I mean, if you wouldn't even allow me to say anything again because of time, I am so satisfied that that at least I know Mahama is watching me from UK, and all your listeners who are and viewers who are listening to me. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time since I've been on this show, and I'm so happy that I'm back. Things were kind of rough for me those days, but things have eased up. So anytime you want me to come on the show, I mean, just give me a holler, and then I will look at my schedule, and at an appropriate time, I will come and share my opinions with your viewers and your listeners. Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you, especially, well, our time is fast spent. You had written an article on the free senior high school review and all that. I think the IMF conditionalities have vindicated you, and it would have been another opportunity to discuss. But we will see. We'll work at it. By the grace of God, once we have time, we will still have the opportunity to discuss it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for having making time to be part of the show this evening.
I'm grateful.
Let me see, Mr. Kwache, and then we'll say it's Lagachi, our time is fast spent. But we're grateful that you are part of the show. But then, what do you have to tell the people of Kumawu who goes to the polls tomorrow? We have shown them that the MPP has neglected them after their series of demonstrations, failing to complete the projects that they started in their constituency, or the projects that the NDC started, which they could have completed for them, which they didn't do. Even their chief complained about it. Tomorrow they are going to the polls. What message do you have for them?
Yes, in our Akan language, there's a saying that if you don't know death, you look at sleep. When you are asleep, it's just as you are dead. Look at Swami Runabout so-called interchange. They were in cast sword, and it ended there. So after tomorrow, it is obvious that they will not see these MPP people in Kumawu again. And there have been a speculation that after the elections, the contractor said he's carrying all his materials away. It's the usual game plan. Let's do this. Let's confuse the people. Let's use it to convince them. So if at the end of the day they vote for us, we also run away. So my message for my people at Kumawu is simple. There's another elections, and this is the time you should tell MPP that you need more development in Kumawu. If you cast your eyes back or your minds back, you could see that when you see water in Kumawu, it is NDC. When you see healthcare in Kumawu, it is NDC. So NDC that you have never voted for has got this humility. Let me say it's a national cake anyway. But under normal circumstance, the one that you entrusted your power into is the one that should do more for you. But NDC has done more, and they deserve to be appreciated. This Asante Nkai syndrome must be a thing of the past. This time, Asante must kai. Asante must remember that NDC has done a lot for Kumawu people, giving them water alone. And there are two essential things that they have done for Kumawu people: water and health. Very important. And there have been some road extensions that we have not even talked about, those ones. So, people of Komaru, my message is simple. Tomorrow, tell MPP that if you respect us, we will respect you back. And that should sound in their voting. Not always put the anything there, and once it's NDC MPP color, we are going to vote for. But in ending my submission, somebody mentioned that rule of law, and comparatively, you see, we could see that NDC can pride themselves of being or holding Ghana in the rule of law, because looking at 2016, the happiness and all those things going back, a whole of tourists were scared about former President John Mahama. But there wasn't any attack like that we are seeing today. You see, there are certain things in law. You use common sense, humility, and emotion when you are dealing with law. President Akufo-Addo doesn't even look at any of them. The common sense aspect is null and void, because if you look at the current appointees at electoral commission, it tells you that these people are gradually handing over to NDC. Like Canada Japan said, everything that they have done actually indicates that they are not interested in winning power in 2024. And if you are a staunch MPP man, this is the time you should start crying, because if this party should go to opposition come 2024, it is going to be a disaster for them, because there's a very big crack in the MPP, and it is manifesting in Kumawu. You see Alam people going to campaign. You see Baumia people also there campaigning. And you see, sometimes I keep saying that Dr. Baumia is more or less like, I wouldn't use the word like the Joker, but people listening to him, not because he's making sense, but he's making them to laugh. That is a fact, because you see, everything is like you don't even phantom what he says. Currently, look at the message he gave at Kumawu. He's still referring to and confirm and Doomsaw and those stuff, thinking that the people are too gullible that they will adhere to that. So you are still preaching this message to them. So they have lost touch. They don't have the message. There's no message. It's the same old story.
Fred, I think our time is far
Yeah.
spent.
So as I'm ending that it is better to go to IMF with a knee broken than to go in IMF in a coma. Currently, they send us to IMF in a coma. We cannot breathe. We cannot do anything. So you see, the IMF has to revive us before they can now diagnose us and know our problem. There was no deal. Aforeta didn't do any deal. There was no broke policy, nothing. He
I
only
know.
went there and they were telling him, do
With
this,
that,
go and do that. That was the back and forth. It has taken 1 year. These
with that
people are fun.
question, I know where you are heading now. If I allow you, you will need another 1 hour, because you are falling into the books of Honorable Isaac Adongo, where Oforeta was there working on the corridors of the IMF and doing and giving us a very poor deal. I think we will need more time. As
Sure,
I said. It is
sure.
just one aspect of this IMF deal. We have not even touched the surface, let me say so. It's just an introductory part of it. We will make more time, and then we have more discussions on this IMF deal. So, to our viewers out there, it's been a great pleasure.
Let me make just a simple request that
yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to greet all my comrades, and then to also say a very big thank you to you, the host, and my other colleagues, and my chairman, my secretary, Mary, and my communication
Your
officer.
communication officer is following you. He wants to conclude the show for us.
Then I also want to tell Doctor that anytime he wants to talk on education, concerning the free education, you should add me, because education is also my thought, my area. So I have a lot of issues there. So anytime Doctor is coming, I will, it has been a very lovely show. So thank you, Doctor, and thank you very much for your review.
Wonderful. Dr. Lawrence, before I announce go off, any message for our people in Kumau for tomorrow?
Oh, I mean, very short. I know the time is fast spent. Very,
Yeah.
very short. I mean, we know Kumawu has been the stronghold of the NPP, and that is why they've taken them for granted. Tomorrow, they should send a very clear message to them that no more being taken for granted, and their clear message should reflect on their votes. They should vote for the NDC candidate. What's his name? I forgot.
Akwesi Amankwa.
Akwesi Amankwa. They should vote for Akwesi Amankwa as the NDC candidate. Let the NDC win power in Kumawu tomorrow, and that should send the signal and a clear message to the MPP that enough is enough. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Enough is enough for the people of Kumau. Tomorrow we have Akwesi Amankwa, that is a candidate of the National Democratic Congress. On behalf of all AMAS students, we wish Akwesi Amankwa the very best, and especially from the volleyball team. We are strongly behind you. We are praying that your political career will take off strongly tomorrow. It's been a great pleasure coming your way on MyView show. And as Ali wants to complete the show for us, he says Akufado's government is of consumption for consumption by consumption. Then that has landed us in a ditch. We need to delve more into the IMF bailout, conditionalities, and the way forward for Ghana. Stay tuned wherever you are when the day is open. But for now, we say thank you for joining us and have a blessed evening. Today's Ghana News TV is 2 years old, and we continue to give you the very best. Within our 2-year period, we have introduced our newspaper, the Evening Tribune. Tribune, when it comes, tribulation, you should expect it. It comes with all the hardcore news items, and we report it as it is, as you see it, and as you hear it. So do make a date with us. It comes out every Wednesday, so Thursday morning is right up there. Get a copy of it and get more informed. Do get in touch with us, and we have any article, we will do the publication for you.